Hi there, this is Casey from West Kelowna, Casey Christensen. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I live in West Kelowna where it's lovely and sunny right now. I've spent the entire day outside with a little fella that I look after when his mom's in a pinch. There's a little fella, Hayden, that I look after, and we spent the entire day at the park. So I'm pretty sure he's napping right about now, and I'm resisting the urge to nap. It's a lot of fresh air. Okay, so thank you for joining me. I'm so excited I can hardly stand it. Tomorrow is the day that this catalog goes live. So still I can't show you anything that's in it, but tomorrow you'll be able to order from this catalog. So I'm really excited about that. My list is far too long currently, so I will be sitting down with my catalog and paring it down a little bit. It's so hard not to just order everything in it, but then I have to take out a mortgage on my home. So today I thought I would like to play with a fold that I saw on, I guess it was on Pinterest, and I really liked it. However, when I started following the instructions, it kind of baffled me a little bit because for those of you who know me, I don't work in teeny tiny increments. I'm not very good at sixteenths, and you know, let's face it, I'm not even that good at quarters and eighths. So what I do is I watch a video that I like, and then I just do a workaround and see if I can simplify the method for my own purposes. And maybe some of you out there feel the need to do the same thing. So what I'm going to play with today is this card, fun fold card that I found that I really liked. And it's just kind of an interesting sort of a fun fold. And it opens either way. It doesn't really matter which way, but it has some strange angles on it to cut. And so I thought I would play with that today. And in watching the video, I struggled a little bit. So what I did was I made myself a template. Let me show you what we're going to use today. We're going to use this paper from the new catalog. It's called Tea Boutique. It is a 6x6 series of paper. And all kinds of different, I've used quite a bit of mine. So there's a lot of pieces that are missing, but all in colors, all beautiful in colors. And like all the Stampin' Up! Paper, when you get your paper, it has a card inside telling you what colors are used in the DSP so that you're able to easily coordinate your different cardstock to go with the colors in this DSP, which I really love. I really rely on those color references so that I know what I'm working with. We're not going to really use too much of the Hello Beautiful today, but I am going to use a sentiment there that I really like. It's a gorgeous stamp set with all kinds of possibilities, but for today's purposes, we're just going to use a sentiment. We're going to use my Cloud Punch. I just got this, also in the new catalog. This is in the new catalog as well, and I really love this punch so much. It's just a nice, happy little cloud, and who couldn't use clouds, right? Well, I do a lot of scenery type things. And so, who doesn't need clouds? Some embellishments, the new in-color embellishments, and all these things are available in the new catalog, which, as I said, hi Dorothy, nice to see you. As I mentioned earlier, goes live tomorrow. So I'm really looking forward to simplifying my list just a little bit. And I'll talk to you a little bit later about how to go about making some decisions. Dorothy, I was just showing this fun fold card that we're going to do today, and I learned this one on the internet, but I struggled really quite a bit with her measurements, and so I simplified it down to using a template. So that's what I'm going to show you today, is how I simplified it down to a template. So these are my templates, and so what I've done is, I think these are fairly simple to follow. I'm starting out with a 5.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And this is the new Starry Night cardstock, one of my all-time faves so far. That changes with the day. And then I'm also going to use, because I'm working with clouds, I'm going to use the opposite side of this paper, this DSP, because it's a cloud card. So clouds and teapots don't really work well for me, but it's a cloud card. So I'm going to use those. So let's start with my template. And what I did was, I really love to simplify things down for myself, and I'm hoping that you can appreciate the simplification as well. Hi, Kimmy. Nice to see you. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way here that I've just been showing. and we'll get started on this fun card. I really love this fold. I think I'm going to do this for a few days because this one I did as a sort of a sample. I'm pleased with this, and nothing says yellow and black to me more than bumblebees. And so tomorrow I think I will do a bumblebee card using this. But let's press on with this one for the moment. So what I've done with my template here is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to score my 5.5 by 11 cardstock at 3 3/8. So that's just an 1/8 under a half, okay? 3 3/8. So that's a score, not a cut. And then we'll flip it around and we'll repeat that. Again, that's a score, not a cut. And then we'll just do a little tester. Let's just do a little tester to make sure that it's as I want it to be, and it is. So this is where the template comes in. I'm going to try and post this template. That's not something I do all the time, but I'm learning new things. I don't know if you've been looking at my my YouTube channel, but I'm really learning how to, it does remind me of a popcorn box too. I'm really learning how to do interesting, fun things. That too, Dorothy. Interesting and fun things on my YouTube channel, and I'm kind of pleased that A, I can do them, and B, I can remember how to do them again. So this is the most simplified way I know of doing this card. So I've got my score marks that are there, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to put it on top of here, but I'm going to move it over slightly because I want to take my pencil. Using my template, I just want to make this mark on the side. Can you see what, there's a little bit of blue? Let's get some white card base underneath here so you can see. So all I've done is I've laid my template on top. I've scooched it over the tiniest little bit so that I can make my marking over here. And this marking is 1.5 inches down. Kim, don't panic. I'll send you a picture. Dorothy, if you need a picture too, you can message me. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to take it over to the other side, line it up perfectly. Just tap it down on your desk to line it up. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. So that's 1.5 inches down. The alternate is to take your ruler and put your ruler on and mark at the 1.5 inch down line. You can do that as well. Whichever way works easier for you. I find it easier to lay my template piece on top. So that's going to be our first cut, okay? So now what I'm going to do is take my trimmer and I'm going to line up my fold. Remember I did a score here, or a score line here. I'm going to line up the tip of my score line right there. Then I'm going to scooch my card around just a little bit so that my marking at 1.5 inches is along the cut line or score line as well. Okay, so I've got my fold up here on the top and my pencil line down here on the bottom. I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, that's my first cut. All right. Now, the next one, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got my pencil line up here, my 1.25 inch pencil line here. Now I'm going to scooch my fold of my card over to here, and it's just a straight shot. Okay. So that's the top portion of our card. And that even in and of itself actually looks pretty cool. I kind of like even that. It has a bit of an envelope effect. But we're going to do the bottom part as well. So for the bottom part, same thing. I'm going to lay my template over top of my card base. And I'm going to leave a little bit showing at the top so that I can make my marking. Again, you could do this with your ruler. Just take your ruler and make a mark 1 inch in. 1 inch. Okay? So I've done that on both sides. 1 inch in. Just a nice pencil mark. So for this one, we're then going to line up our upper corner here. This is the piece we cut off. We've got a nice corner right there. See that? That's our upper corner. And we're going to line that upper corner along with our 1 inch. that we marked down here. You see that? So upper corner and 1 inch marking. I love templates. I just, you know, the thing is I don't have to think too hard. The next time I want to make one, I can just pull out my template. I use templates for a lot of things. A lot of things. I just want to, I've got a little doodly-doo here that I just want to get rid of. There we go. So we're going to repeat that on the other side. And we're just going to put it upside down. So there's our point of our card. This is upside down now. There's our point of our card right there. And there's our 1 inch line. So there we have it. Okay, isn't that cool? I just love it. I just think it's such a fun fold. It's not difficult once you get the hang of it, and if you have a template. Okay, so I'm going to try to find a way to get that template up online. I know there's a way to do it. I just want to make sure I do it neatly. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I can throw it up there, but okay, so for this piece, this is the piece that we're going to have on the front of the card, okay? So you can see, just like in quilting, Kim, you remember in quilting, we're going to do one and we're going to do one reversed, right? So the easiest way I know of doing that, going back to quilting, is taking our DSP, we've got 2 pieces here, and lining them up like this. So one's going to be in one direction and one's going to be in the other direction, like so. Now let's pretend, just for the sake of argument, that I was using the teapot side. So then we want to be clear on our direction. So if I were going to use the teapots, I would go this direction, right? So my teapots are straight up. And then I would take this piece. So right direction, flip over, right direction. Then you're going to end up with a right and a left. And I would do that, and probably will do that tomorrow, but for the moment, I want to use the clouds. I want to show you my clouds. And so I'm not going to use that particular card stock or DSP. Okay, so there we have our card base. Now for this piece, and I'm going to cut these together. You can do that. Your trimmer is quite capable. So I'm going to start by cutting a piece that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, keeping in mind direction. Right now we don't care about direction, but given whatever card you're making, you may care about direction. So right now it doesn't matter, but it would be in the teapots would be up and down like this if you were using them. So let's do this, 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to stack them neatly together. Put them in the 3 1/4. Cut. Put my little bits aside. And now I'm going to do 5 1/4. I had forgotten how busy a 3-year-old little boy is. I've been looking after this little guy. He's my physiotherapist's son. And every once in a while, you know, when they're at daycare, if they so much as sniffle, they get sent home. It's that simple. They just get sent home. So my physiotherapist, I'm her on-call. At a moment's notice, if the little guy gets sent home, Hayden is his name, and if he gets sent home, then I can fill in. So I'm going to do the same thing here. How you do it is up to you, whether you want to use your ruler and measure in, or you just want to lay your template down. I like to lay my template down. That's just me. So I'm going to lay down my template. I'm going to make sure it's nice and even on both sides, and I'm going to put a marking. This marking is 1 1/4 inches down. Okay? 1 1/4 inches down from here to here. And I'm going to mark my second marking as well. And all I'm going to do is make sure these are still nice together. And then I have to pick it up to do it. Line up my little template like so. And mark my piece at 1 inch. Okay? 1 inch. So we've got 1 1/4 from the top here, and we've got 1 inch from the outside here. Okay? And these are both going to be cut lines. So let's put my template aside. Maybe I'll make some better templates with white so that they'll photograph well, and then I can put them up. So this first cut, now put these together very, very tight. And this first cut is going to go from the corner to my dot that I made, okay? Just a little bit. If you need to, you can use a little post-it note, and I'm going to, so I'll show you what I do. I'm going to take my post-it note, going to fold it in half. This is the one that just has the line of post-it around the top, not my yellow ones that have post-it all over. I'm going to pop that down, stick my post-it note on it. Then I can take my second piece. Remember, we're doing one on each. The turquoise is on the outside, on both sides, because that's how I'm going to be able to get it straight. And there you go. That's just a temporary fix. If you're a person that's liable to move things while you're trying to line them up, you can do that, and then everything's going to stay in check. Okay? So, just going to cut that one, cutting both at the same time. And then this next one is going to be from the cut that I just made to my little line down here at the bottom, which was 1 inch in from the edge. Okay? So line those up neatly, 1 inch in from the edge. Okay, so now I have my 2 bits. Now the next thing I want to do, I can now remove my post-it note. I'll save that for future use. So now the next thing that I want to do is erase my pencil lines, okay? Invest in a good eraser. I have a few erasers around the house, but the only one that really works well for me is this Stadler, or whatever it's called, and it's on the end of a pencil. I'd like to go to Staples and get myself a full eraser of this white eraser, because it's very kind to your cardstock, and it erases beautifully. It just erases beautifully. And if you have any little, you know, edges showing from doing your cutting process, just take your burnishing tool, your bone folder, and just go along the edges like this. I like to do that. It just gives it a nice clean edge. So I've erased it off of there. Now let's see if I've got anything showing on here, and I do. So I'm going to erase that off of there, and I might have been a little heavy-handed with those pencil marks. Try not to do that. Okay, so now we have our bits. Now, people, we are not looking for perfection here. There's a reason that this card is colored, because if this line here, when you glue your paper on, if this line is not, I'm talking about this line here, opened up, is not absolutely dead bang perfect, don't make yourself crazy, please. It's too easy to do. And the background is the same cardstock, so it's not noticeable if it's not absolutely perfect. I stopped being a perfectionist quite a long time ago because it's just not good for my soul. It makes me a little bit nuts. Okay, so let's pop those on. We're simply going to use my gun. No need to dimensionalize these guys, and try and get your tape or your glue or whatever you do, try and get it right up into that corner, okay? It's kind of important. I love this fold. I can see myself doing this lots. I'm going to do some more of them, and then I think, what day is it tomorrow? Tomorrow's Tuesday, so I might actually do them on my Tuesday live. There's my one side. Oh, got over the edge with my glue, never a good thing. Okay. So there I have my little bits. Okay. I really like that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to decorate it. Now when I go to put my inside, I'm going to put an inside in this card, and I'm going to be very careful not to have the inside exceed. Well, I think I'm going to be careful not to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Let's just go and see what we get. Let's just see. All right, so I'm going to get my embossing folders. I'm using the Stripes and Splatters embossing folder for my cloud. I just thought that was a good one. And I'm using basic white for my clouds. Now you can use the thick one or you can use the thinner one. I happen to be using the thicker one, and the reason for that is these clouds are going to come out. There's going to be a belly band on this card. If you don't know what that is, you will in a few minutes. Oh yeah, there's very little show. It's up to you how much show. It really is. If you want to trim this a little tighter. What I have done, what I did with this one, is I trimmed it, and then I actually went in after I cut this shape. After I finished cutting this shape, I went in and trimmed it a little further. Just equal increments, right? Like we do on regular stuff. You can always trim off a tiny bit more. I didn't this time. So for my clouds, what I want to do is I want to give my clouds a little bit of interest. And I am going to use the thicker cardstock, the basic white thick, because I kind of like the idea of them having a little heft to them, because they are going to sit on a belly band, and so they will be hanging out in the open, if you get my drift. If you don't, you'll know in a minute. Okay, so we're going to use this embossing folder. We're going to use the mini guide. So what we need is number 1 and number 3. So let's get those out and ready. Number 1 and number 3. And then we're going to place our cardstock in here, making sure that we have the fold at the top and that we can read the Stampin' Up! Emblem. If you put it in this way, like with the opening at the bottom, sometimes you can crack the fold at the top. I've never done it, but I've heard stories. And if you put it in this way without being able to see your Stampin' Up!, then you're going to end up having your indents are going to be outdents, for lack of a better way to say that. And in white cardstock, it wouldn't matter. You would just flip it over. But if you were doing this on some DSP, well, it would matter. It would really matter. Yeah, very little show, Kim. I'm just going to pop this through. I'm going to use the little one. Remember to stagger these, okay? If you line these all up like this and try to push them through, you're not going to have any fun at all. So just give them a bit of a stagger, okay? No, it doesn't want to go through even with the stagger. Hang on a minute. Oh, I don't know why I'm not having any luck with this right now, but I'm not. So I'm not going to fight with it. It just, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. It's very seldom, but every once in a while. So I'm just going to pop onto the big one here. Bear with me. I'll be right back. Okay, just a second. Let me just run this through here. Okay. So I've used this little set of 2 embossing folders. I really love this little set of 2. It's Stripes and Splatters 3D embossing folder. And so I'm using the splatters. I think the splatters is more suitable for clouds. So I'm using the splatters. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cloud punch. This is a great punch. I think I'm going to use this punch a lot. I really like it. I like punches. It just, I don't know. I like the noise they make. I just like everything about them. I just like punches. So I think I'll do it. I'm just going to pop this cardstock in here. Sorry, I'm a little awkward at the moment. And I'm just going to punch me some clouds. And they look really, really neat with this embossing on them. They really do. I think 3 will do it. I don't know how well you can see that, but let me hold them up and see if you can see the embossing on here. It's quite neat. I don't know. Can you see that? You see that they're embossed? Not really. Well, they're embossed. Take my word for it. They're embossed. And they look really neat. Okay, so what I'm going to do with my card here is I want to cut that off. There's a little thing hanging off there, and it's just bugging me. Like a little nib or something like that. I don't know what to call it. Okay, so that's where we are. Now, what I want to do here is I want to make a belly band. As you can see, this card's just going to plop open, and even if I burnish it, it's going to do the same thing. Okay, better. But what I want to do is I want to do a belly band. So all I've done is I've cut a strip of the leftover from my card base. This is just my Starry Night, the new paper. I'm just going to pop it into the middle here. Doesn't have to be in the middle. It doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to do here, it's 1 inch. You can do a belly band any size you want it to be. I just happen to have done a 1 inch. I think that's probably enough. I'm just going to fold it over and then fold it over again, because you don't want it to be super duper 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 tight, right? So I've folded it over. Now that I know what size I want it to be, I can trim it down if I want to. I don't have to, but I can trim it down if I want to. And I'm not going to, because now I know exactly where that starts and finishes. So I've made a little, I'm just going to grab a little bit of this and close it over. Make sure it's nicely lined up. And there you go, voila, belly band. Piece of cake, right? So if you wanted to get fancy, you could, I don't know, you could use some kind of different, we have different things, different die sets come with this sort of thing. I've done this on a belly band so that it has a little bit of a funky edge to it. Not going to do it on this one, but because not much of the belly band is going to show. But you can always do that, or you know, lots of interesting ways you can go. So I just want a couple of clouds on here. Now I'm going to put it back on my card so that I have an idea of what it's going to look like. Just, if you're having trouble getting it on, just pinch your card a little bit like this, and then you can easily slide it on there. She says. There you go. Just pinch it a little bit. See what I'm doing to the card? I've just got it pinched a little bit. I'm going to slide that up to about the center, which is where I want it to be. Okay? So now I can take my clouds, and I think I'm going to, I don't know, am I going to do 3 clouds or am I going to just do 2 clouds? I don't know. So I know I'm going to have to do some double dimensionalizing. That I know for sure, so that I get a good show of these clouds. So let's get... Now, you got to keep in mind when you go to put your clouds on, you're only putting dimensionals in the middle, okay? You don't want any dimensionals out here, because they're gonna really wreak havoc when you go to open and close your card, okay? So you really just want them to stick loosely on the belly band itself. So I'm just putting 2 dimensionals, oops, in the center. And I'm going to pop that guy right about there. Okay? And I'm going to have to, let me see, got to think this through. double dimensionalize there. Remember that's going to be on top of one that's already dimensionalized. So what I've done here is, see how I've got two dimensionals there. So you can see the thickness that I've got. Only I put them on the wrong side. Never mind. Scratch that. Hang on, I've got them on the wrong side. The side that's going to go on the cloud there is only going to have one dimensional, but the side that is coming off the cloud, and mine's going to be right about there, which is good, I think. Yep. And then on this side that's going to stick on the band, we need two dimensionals on top of each other, okay? Because otherwise it's going to be flapping in the wind there. It's not going to work out. Okay, so with that double dimensional, it means that there's dimension between these two clouds, but there's also extra dimension over here. Okay, so just a little bit of extra dimension. Now, I'm not quite sure where to go with the embellishment. This is meant to be a simple card, so we're not going to get too crazy. But I was thinking, I was thinking this, it's time for a celebration. Like I've mentioned to you before, I don't necessarily make cards that are birthday or cards that are, well, I make Christmas cards, but I sort of like to keep my cards a little bit generic. So if I put on there, this calls for a celebration, it can be a card for a baby, it can be a card for, it can be anything, right? Because it's all to do with what you put on the inside of the card, okay? That's going to make it a specific occasion. This calls for celebration. So that's what I'm going to use. And I think I'm going to use, now I got out a, there it is. I'm going to use my new ink color, this Starry Sky, because I just think it's very pretty. And let's see what I've got in my Dexter dish. Let's see if I've got anything in here I could use that would be cool. I've got a little stitched rectangle here. That might be nice, but I need something else on it. So let's get something else. I do like that little square, but let's get something else. I'm going to use something in here, I think. In this Hello Beautiful, this is a really fun stamp set. When I first looked at it, I sort of thought, interesting, but it comes with some very fun dies to do all kinds of cool things, especially when you like bees. Like I look at this and think of beehives, all these little rectangles and stuff. You could make three-dimensional beehives. These are great for little sentiments. You can do your sentiments and cut them out with these great little fun things here. What happened to my stamp? Does my stamp happen to fit nicely in that? It's oddly enough it doesn't. At least I don't think it is. I'm going to play with that. Let's find out. Let's find out. I've got a piece of cardstock here. I want to see what that looks like. In terms of whether or not, oh, that was clever. That was clever. Not so much. Okay, so if I use, it actually does fit. But here's what I'm going to do, I think. I'm going to use this stamp. And I'm going to stamp it like, I'm going to stamp it like second generation maybe. Let me try it. Let me try it and see what I get here. Well, the nice thing about it, Kim, is when something comes up and you're like, oh no, I don't have a card for that. If you do them a little bit more generic like I do, then you have a card for anything, really. You know, you can just, like, see how, that's too much. You see that? That's too much. Way, 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 way too much. Let's try this. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So, scratch that idea. It was a nice idea, but not for this card. It's not going to work for me. So, let's find my sentiment that I had there, now that I'm completely covered in ink. I wish I could show you what I did to myself yesterday. I laid my entire arm in my, I don't know if you can you see that? There we go. Look at that. What a clever girl. It just looks like a really, really bad tattoo, doesn't it? Like really bad tattoo. There. That's not coming off for a little while. Not coming off for a little while. I kind of like this. I want to try this. I really want to try this. So let's give this guy a go. I'll need some washi tape. I kind of like that cute little shape there. It should work with this sentiment, but I can't tell for absolutely positively sure. So let's just lay it on there and see what we get, right? It's the only way you're going to know. So my theory, or how I'm going to order from the new catalog, because it's overwhelming. It can be a little bit overwhelming. There's so much. You can't have it all, unless of course you're very wealthy, which I am not. My theory is to go through each thing. It's like I'll order one embossing folder, and I'll order maybe 2 embellishments, maybe a ribbon. The sweets for me are the way to go. The sweets are absolutely the way to go. There's a couple of sweets I'm going to order. The thing I like about the sweets is everything you need to create is there in the sweet. Like it's there. You've got some embellishment, you've got some ribbon, you've got, or whatever is meant to go with it. They don't all do embellishment and ribbon. Some do either. But there's a couple of really beautiful sweets in there. And that way you have everything you need, as long as you've gotten yourself enough cardstock that you have the cardstock colors. You've got everything you need to really create some wonderful things, because it's not, it's just so complete when you order as a suite. I do tend to do that. I seem to be missing a plate. There it is. And then, so I'm going to order probably a little bit from each category, I guess, is how I'm going to go about it. A couple of sweets, and then stuff from each category. The black and white paper that I've been using, let me get it. Let me get it, and I'll tell you what it is. I really like that paper, actually. Oh, and then I'm also, because I'm always feeling like I'm lacking paper, I probably will order all of the papers that I do like. I'm just trying to find this paper. I have it here right now, but I'm not sure if I can find the... Well, for whatever silly reason, the white piece that goes with it and tells me what it is isn't with it, Kim. So I'll have to sort that out later. Either it isn't in it, or I'm just not feeling it. Have you got your catalog yet, Kim? I did mail them last week. Okay, well that's cute, right? Now you can't see it, but there's all kinds of detail on there. There's quite a bit of detail. Little sort of what do I want to say, indents of circles or rectangles. It looks quite cool. It looks quite cool. I'm pleased with that one. So let me give this a little wash before I put it back in the box. And then I also had another idea for that, just to add a little something something. I'm just trying to decide whether it would work at this point or not. I think maybe not. So I'm not going to do that one. So see that? It's cute, right? It's basically just meant to be your basic card. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Just a nice little basic card with a little extra. So I am going to take a dauber. I've got a blue one. I do. So I'm going to take a dauber and I'm going to get into my Starry Night stamp pad. And you've seen me do this before, but I'm just going to add a little color just to the edges of this card. Just to the edges, okay? Just to the edges. Don't bring it around the front. Just give it a little bit. So if you do this, then it will really stand out from the clouds, okay? I'm really just running this dauber right along the very edges. Okay. And you'll see it makes quite a difference when you drop it on the card. It just has that little blue frame around it, which gives it a little bit more life, okay? So now I'm trying to decide. I don't think I can't wait until I get my new ribbons and stuff. Right now, I really want to put some kind of ribbon on there, but right now I don't have anything at all that's going to work because I can only use current. I don't have anything, and I'm afraid that the linen is not going to cut it on this card. What I do have, though, okay, let's look in here, because I do have, no, I think we're going to forego the ribbon at this time and just stick to embellishments. I don't have anything that looks quite right. So this one, again, we're going to have to dimensionalize differently as well, because of, actually, I can maybe just stick it to one cloud. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use glue on this edge of my label, and I'm going to adhere it to the cloud there, because I don't want to put any more dimensionals on it. I feel like it will be a bit much. Yes, I do use both sides of the chamois. In fact, I don't even know what side I'm usually Thank you, Dorothy. Yes, perfectly penciled. I'm going to be ordering some more of that because I've used quite a bit of it already. So I will likely order some more. Now, keep in mind which side I want to have the glue on. It's going to be this side. And I'm just going to drop that down right there. Okay. And then I think we need some fancy things on it. So we're going to use these. Let's see. I think I will use the Starry Night ones just because there'll be a better contrast on my turquoise cardstock here. Yeah, I think so. And I'm just going to use a few. I'm just going to use the big ones. They go from very big to very small. I wish there was an in-betweener on here. You see, they go from this large one to really tiny ones. And I don't know. I think the little tiny one's going to get lost. So I am going to use 3 of the larger ones. This is also something I will be ordering more of for sure. No question, because I really like these little matte dots, you know. It's cute, right? I like it. It's just a basic card. Inside is going to go, I want a little, let's look at that. Let's look at that. The shape I want for inside, I really don't want it to exceed the top edge here. I like that the top edge here stays blue, and then you don't need to be quite as super duper fussy about your edges here because they're not going to show. So I'm going to put a pencil mark, just a pencil mark right here. Because that's the size I want my sentiment piece to be, okay? So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to leave that top part blank, like I said. I'm going to use this one. So let's get some white right here. I'm just going to cut myself off a piece of that so I can fit it through the smaller cutter. I'll pop that up there. Now I think I'm going to do a two-part cut like this I've shown you before, because the size I really want it to be isn't available to me in these rectangles. That's another thing I'm going to buy is a new set of a different shape of dies. I find I'm using the rectangles so much, I'd like to have a different shape. So I will look through the catalog tonight and see what kind. But basically my order is going to be a little bit of everything. Like, I think that's the best way to do it, to give yourself some variety. Okay, so I've got that done, but what I really want, I think, let me just put this in here and see what it looks like. So I want it to be below that dot that I just created, so just about like that, but I think I want it to be equal distance. That would require a ruler if I hadn't buried it. Yeah, so that's about an inch there. So I want this to be about an inch as well. So what I'm going to do is, again with my pencil, I'm going to make, can you see what I'm doing here? I'm going to make, I want this to be, it's an inch from up there. I want it to be an inch from this lower portion as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it on my little piece here, and then I can do a second die cut. Bring this down here. I'll get a piece of washi tape ready because I'm going to need it right away. And you can just feel this line itself up. Now it's not going to be exact, okay? It isn't going to be exact because I can't even see where that is, but it's certainly going to be better than it was, okay? So I've got a little piece there. If you look on the back, you'll see it's perfectly lined up on the frame, and it actually slides in there by itself. You can feel the paper slide into the notches. So it's not a difficult thing to do, but it enables, it allows you to make whatever size shape rectangles and squares that you want, okay? And I do this a lot. I really do. I do it a lot because I'm never, you know, it's not always just a set size. It's whatever works for you, right? So let's just run that through. And I will run it through the whole way, although I kind of feel like you don't need to. So now, if I take off my washi tape, now I have a more suitable size for my card, okay? So I don't think I'm going to put anything on the inside. I think this is the kind of card where when I decide what it's going to be for, I'll stamp it then. Oh, another thing I'm going to be looking for when I'm shopping on the new catalog tonight, keep an eye on sentiments, okay? There's some really neat sentiments out there, and there's There's some sentiment stamp sets that are just sentiments, and the neat thing about that is you can you need to round out your sentiments. For example, right now, of the current stamp sets that I have in my cupboard, I don't have a single stamp that says happy birthday. Okay, so I am in need of sentiments. I have lots of them that say that, but nothing current. You don't need to worry about that. If you've got stuff in your cupboard that's not a problem. But keep an eye on the sentiments to make sure you're rounding out what you need. I don't need any Father's Day or Mother's Day. But you know, like I say, you can have a one that's like this, that's sort of generic, and then you can open it up and you can hand write Happy Father's Day. This calls for a celebration. Open it up. Happy Father's Day, Happy Mother's Day, whatever you need. So this is just a small one here. I'm not stamping anything on it because my intention is I'm getting some new stamps. My intention is I'm going to put maybe a really pretty happy birthday stamp inside this. Okay? That's kind of my feelings on sentiments. It's good to have them in your collection. So have a look at those, because there are a couple in there in the new catalog that I'm definitely putting on my list. So see what you think and see if something meets your needs. Okay. Now, I already know that I want this to be like there-ish. So I'm over, there we go. So now when I close my card, you can't see that, but there it is. It's just big enough for a happy birthday, love, whomever. You know, it's my daughter's birthday today. She calls it reaching her 46th level. Kim, your plates, there's no way to tell you how long they'll last. However, these plates right here, I've been using these for 2 years on the little one. Okay, on the little one. All right. It depends on how you, eventually, and actually it's never even happened to me. I am told that eventually they will snap in half. When they've had enough, when they've just had enough, they will snap in half and they won't be usable anymore. So I always have another set in the wings of both sizes, because the day that this snaps in half, I sure want to be able to open up a new set and start using them. And it doesn't mean you have to open up a new set and start using both. Just throw out the one that cracks and go for the other one. Sometimes people find that they get very bowl-like, they get very bowed. I feel like I'm unbowing mine as I'm using them, because I swear these ones had a lot more bow to them than they do today. Like, this is not bad, right? That's not bad at all. So I don't know, maybe I can see it a little bit better if I put them that way. But you see, they do start to warp and bow, and so that's just the nature of the beast. It is something that you're going to have to. It's a consumable. It's something that you're going to have to buy from time to time, but I'm not going to say you're going to buy them often, because you're not. All right, so let's just push my card in a little bit, again, like we did before, so I can slide it in there. And my belly band should just come up from where I put my embellishments. Okay, and there's just your basic card. There's not a ton of work in this card, but it's cute as a button. And to open that up and have, you could put a gift card in there, something that's not going to show over the top, because you need to have that leeway. I mean, you could go crazy and fussy cut and get this piece in here perfectly, even if you wanted to, but for my money, it would end up driving me crazy. So it is what it is, right? So tomorrow, I think I'll play with this one, and we'll play with the Honeybee Home stamp set, and do not quite as basic a card, but it's a pretty card nevertheless. So if you haven't been to my YouTube page lately, turn them over. What do you mean turn them over, Kim? And that's what a belly band does. It just holds the whole thing shut, and there you have it. Tomorrow, if you haven't been to my YouTube page, go and have a look. I've been working really hard. I'm excited that I'm not only learning new things, but I'm managing to retain what I've learned. And so my page is looking pretty cool, if I do say so myself. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're watching any of my videos over there, be sure to like. Well, if you like them, go ahead and like. Go ahead and like them. And yeah, because I'm having a lot of fun learning new things. You know, retirement's been a strange thing for me, because I'm not going to say I was getting bored. I wasn't getting bored, but I've been teaching all my life and had human contact my whole life. And now that we're here, I'm not really getting that. And I'm really not rushing out to find new friends. I'll be honest, I'm not. I'm pretty content here with my husband. He's retired as well, and we both have our hobbies and things like that. But I am at least used to interacting with people. And I'm really enjoying being able to do this, even though it is online, not in person. I'm looking forward to it. And I actually signed up for, there's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in West Kelowna, very close to my house actually. And she's doing a one-day card making retreat, which I'm totally looking forward to. I think that's going to be so much fun. It's from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. And they give you breakfast and lunch, and there's all kinds of events going on throughout the day. You can win stuff, and you can play a game, and they'll be make and takes and stuff. And that's the first social thing I've done since we've been here, aside from going online, which I'm finding very, very gratifying. I'm really enjoying going online, so I hope the people who are watching me are enjoying it as well. And so check me out on Facebook. Apparently, I've just learned how to do this, and if all goes well, if you check out these cards on Instagram, it will also give you a list on there of the items that I used in the video and how to shop for them. That's something completely new and different. Thank you, Kimmy. That's something completely new and different, and I'm surprising myself every day with what I'm able to accomplish on there. So, all right, so that's my time, and I will see you tomorrow. I won't be on during the day tomorrow. I'll be on at 7 o'clock. And let's see what kind of trouble I can get into there. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a pleasant evening, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.